Alright, this is Chapter 10, Section 2, Part 1. So, continuing on with non-right triangles, or otherwise known as oblique triangles, if you have the side-side-side case or side-angle-side case, or even the ass-backward case, you can do the law of cosine. So basically, if you don't have at least two angles, you need at least two angles, it'll do law of sines. Otherwise, you're going to be doing law of cosines, essentially. Although I don't recommend law of cosines for the ass case. Although you can do either one, law of sines or cosines. And of course, AAA never works if three angles don't give you a unique triangle. There's always three variations of each rule because there's three sides of a triangle no matter which way you spin it. The proof is very similar for law of cosines as law of sines. Any non-right triangle you can draw an altitude and you'll get two right triangles. I'm not going to go through the proof. It's in the book. You can look it up. But we're going to use it nonetheless. Okay, so if I look down here, I'm given an angle and two sides. Alright, so if I draw and label the triangle, what I will get is something that looks like this, which is an side, angle, side. So SAS is a proper deviation of law of cosine. Since I have angle A, I want to take the angle A version, which you'll notice about this version here. Let me lay it out square here. Whichever one you're picking, the side that it equals, it goes along with the cosine angle, right? The side goes along with the angle, the side goes along with the angle. So you always have A, B, C, A, B, C, A, B, C every time. Okay? Alright, since I have angle A, I'm going to be solving for side A. That's what goes together. Oops, on the wrong screen. Format, color, blue. Okay, let's fill in the goodies we have. So we don't have side A, but we do have side B, which is 20. 21, I don't know, feet. We'll get to that in a little bit. So it's 20 feet plus 30 feet squared minus 2. I'll just take these right here as is. Copy, paste. So this is 20, this is 30, and this is 60 degrees. Okay, the biggest thing is to follow the order of operations. Exponents come first, so I get 400 and 900. After exponents comes multiplication, so 20 times 30 is 600 times 2 is 1200. Cosine of 60 is 1/2. Okay. Alright. So we did exponents, addition, and multiplication. We had some more multiplication. And now we can do the subtraction, addition. Okay, so that's going to be 1300 minus 600 is 700. So A equals the square root of 700 equals the square root of 7 times 10 times 10, which is 10 root 7, which is approximately, I don't know. I'll bring this over to here. Oops. Okay. So root 700, or 10 times root 7, either way, doesn't matter. About 26.4575. 26.4575 ... feet. Okay, so that's what we get for A. So format, color, orange. Format, color, orange. That's our first answer. So we have all three sides now, but we don't have the angle. So at this point, you can switch to law of sines or stay with law of cosines. It doesn't matter. Since I have side A, I have a ratio now, right? Okay. Whoops. So you have to be careful, though, because this is the ask case. So you might want to be careful and do the law of cosines twice, because this is angle, side, side, angle, side, side, if you're using that one. So you do have to be careful of that. So, so we have sine of 60 over the 10 root 7 equals the ratio. So a sine, I'm going to pick one of the other ones. I don't know, we'll pick angle B. And that's going to go with the 20. Okay? Alright, so I picked that one because it definitely has to be smaller than 60 degrees, because if A is 26 and B is 20, then therefore angle B has to be smaller. So if it's the ask case, it's the smaller of the two angle, essentially. Alright, so if we do this and cross multiply, we're going to get the 10 root 7 times the sine of angle B equals 20 times the sine of 60. Okay. Alright, now we can divide. So we can take this thing here and divide both sides by 10 root 7. Now we just have to do inverse sine to cancel that. So basically, angle B, if I do inverse to both sides, will be inverse sine, because the inverse sine will cancel this sine on that side. Then we can copy that and get that. So angle B is approximately, we'll go to our calculator, so inverse sine ratio 20 times the sine of 60 over 10 root 7 or root 700, doesn't matter which one you do. So we get 40.89 degrees. Okay. And if I did 1 minus 180 from there, since it is the ask case, 1 minus 40.89 would be an obtuse angle, which would not be the correct one, so it's B1 and B2, because obviously this one has to be an acute because 20 is less than 26.5. So even though it is the ask case, you have to be careful, but it's definitely this angle. Okay, so if I want C now, angle C is going to be 180 minus that and minus the original 60. Which would be approximately 180 minus 60 minus 40.89, so 79.11. So that's my angle B. And this is my angle C. So So you do have to be careful if you switch back to law of sines. The first step must always be law of cosines for SAS in the side-side-side case. The second step doesn't necessarily have to be. It can be still law of cosines, or you can switch back to law of sines, but you have to be careful of the AS case. Because there was obviously two angle B's, but it couldn't have been the obtuse one because of the fact that 20 is less than the 26.45. And if this was 60, then this angle had to be less than 60 degrees, obviously. Okay, let's go to the next page. So now I have four sides. If I have four sides, it's clearly the side-side-side case. Okay. So if I quickly drew that triangle, it would say be four labeled sides with no particular angles. So my recommendation there is to do two law of cosines because of the fact you can run into because if you get one angle, it's going to be an AS case left or right, no matter which way you go. So do two law of cosines. Otherwise, you're going to run into an AS case, which you might get the wrong angle. So I'm going to just pick the A and the B. So I'm going to pick the A case. Actually, we'll move this over. So we're going to do pictures, layout, square. So I'm going to do A, and we'll do B, just for argument's sakes. So I'll do the B. So I need to do two of them. Okay. Because we have all the sides, we have none of the angles. We need two angles. We can get the third just by doing some basic math here. Okay, let's fill in these items here. So A is 6. B is 9. And C is 4. And we don't know the angles. That's kind of the point. Okay, so we'll do some basic math here. So exponents first, we get 36, 81, 16, 81, 36, 16. Okay, after exponents is multiplication. Alright, so 2 times 9 times 4 is 72. 2 times 6 is 12, times 4 is 48. Okay. Then we can do the addition. So 81 and 16 is 97. And then 36 plus 16, it's, let's see, 30, 40, 52. Okay. So now I cannot do the subtraction because multiplication comes before subtraction. So now I just need to solve the equation. So if I solve the equation for each side, what I'm going to do is subtract 97 from both sides. So that's going to leave me with negative 61 when I subtract 97. And then from this one, we're going to subtract 52 from both sides. So if I subtract 52 from 81, leaves me with 29. And then I can divide by 72. So I'm going to divide by negative 72 on this side. And this side we're going to, divide by negative 48. Okay, so we're almost there. We just need to get rid of the cosine with cosine inverse. So cosine inverse of that, we can cancel the negatives, equals angle A. And we'll do cosine inverse again of this right here. Equals angle B. Okay, so angle A is approximately, and angle B is approximately, and we'll put those in the calculator. So cosine inverse of 61 over 72, and then cosine inverse of 29 divided by negative 48. Okay, so we'll say whoops, get the little clicker in there. 32.09 dot 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 degrees. And B is looking like 127.17 degrees, dot dot dot, close enough. Okay, so then we can get C from that, right? I'll copy one of these, actually. So if I copy this, we don't need to do law of cosines again because we have two of the angles. C is 180 minus each of these answers, right? Okay, so these are done. Those are correct. Format, color, orange. Format, color, orange. All right, let's see what we get here. 180 minus 32.09 minus 127.17. 17. There we go. Happy with that. 20.74 degrees. Okay, now we've found all the angles. Okay. So, in this case, I didn't do a law of sines, I did law of cosines. In this case, I did a law of cosines followed by a law of sines. In either case, the first step has to be law of cosines because it's an SAS case and a side-side-side case. You have to do law of cosines. Not enough angles to do law of sines. You can switch to law of sines, but the problem is you have to be careful because once you do that, it's an AS case, right? So it's an angle side-side or an angle side-side. So you have to be careful because you might get the wrong B angle because there's two B angles. Okay, so it's safe to do two law of cosines because you might get the acute versus the obtuse angles. You might not get the 127. You might get the opposite angle. You might get 180 minus 127.17. You might get the 52.83 if you did law of sines, which is typically the first angle you would get. So you would actually get this wrong if you hadn't realized it was the AS case because you only have one angle. It's angle side-side or angle side-side, depending on which way you go. So be careful on that when doing law of cosines. You can switch to law of sines, but it's safer just to say